everyone, it's Shari Carroll for STAMPtember with a couple of holiday cards with non-traditional colors and also mixing some messages together that are from non-Christmas sets. So I have a couple things here that I'm putting together to create my cards. And the first stamp set that I have is the Kathy Zelski Birthday Palooza. And it's really fun because it has overlapping letters. And I adore the saying in the Britain terms where they say Happy Christmas. So I'm using the Christmas from the stained glass greetings and also the kaleidoscope background with some antique gold embossing. The snowflake I'm adding to my cards is called Felicity Snowflake, and that is from our new Diecember release. To start everything off, I'm using my stamp platform from Tim Holtz, and I have my cling stamp on the door. And I'm using a half a sheet of the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor cardstock, and I just put that real center into the stamp platform. So the paper is an 8.5 by 11. I cut that in half so that I have a little bit more to work with, and I have the smooth side up. Before I do my embossing, I'm going to run over the entire piece with my anti-static pouch, and this helps the embossing powder from sticking in areas that I don't want it to, and it removes any oils that you might have had from your fingers and touching the paper. I'll be using the Simon Says Stamp clear ink to ink up my stamp, and then I can close the door to get a good impression. Once I have everything stamped, I will sprinkle this with my antique gold embossing powder, and then I can heat set this using my heat tool. I'll be using some watercolors, so I am taping down my embossed panel onto a MDF board, and I'm just using some masking tape or painter's tape. I wanted to show you some of our Daniel Smith sample boards, and you can use any of the blue colors from any of these to start off your painting. I really like the combination of colors that you can get on these cards, and they're really great for trying out if you've never tried doing a whole watercolor background. So right now I'm showing you all the blues that you could use, and these cards are only $2.99, so it's a really good sampler card for you to start off with. I have my paint colors already set up into my palette, and I've listed everything that I'm using for this card in the description box below, so please check that out for the supplies. So the first thing I'm going to do is to use a wide brush and to add just plain clear water onto the board or onto the paper, and this will help the paints really flow into those crevices of the embossing. Okay, so I'm speeding this up a little bit so we can get through this in the time that we have allowed. And I have a medium-sized brush that I'm using, and I did get it wet, so I'm doing wet on wet. My paper is wet and my brush is wet, and that's giving me the wet on wet look. I am going through these colors and I'm just grabbing the next color. So I'm using the dark blue first, and I do like to use some of my darker colors first, and then I'll add the greener blues in after I get some of that dark blue set in. I'm not really particular about where the colors are going. I just want to make sure that I get some really good puddles as I add my paint into the background. As I finish up this panel, you can see that I'm just making sure that I have some really good dark puddles and also some light puddles because I do want a variation of color. So I'm not being real specific. This is a really fun way and an easy way to do a background really quick, especially using that embossing as the resist for the paint. For my peachy one, I also have my supplies listed down in the description box below. I think I was inspired by my sweatshirt, so I wanted to mix in some colors. So I have some Bordeaux going in, which is a really rich magenta color, and that's on Debbie Hughes's color palette on the holiday set of colors. And then I've also mixed in, it's almost a rusty orange, and I've let that one sit with a little bit more water so it'll be a little bit lighter in the color. But as I'm dropping in this color, you can see where I'm letting it puddle into some of those areas of the embossing, and that's what gives you a really nice distinctive color when you're done. I'll show you up close. I'm keeping my paintings on the board to let them dry, and while those are drying I will stamp my greetings. So I have the happy onto my platform, and I'm stamping this onto some Desert Storm cardstock, and I will also gold emboss those so that all the gold embossing matches. My panels are dry, and I've trimmed them down to a 4 by 5 1/4 so they will go onto a card, and you can see how that gold embossing and all those colors really set in beautifully. And here's the blue card where it's just a really nice variation of color where that embossing just really holds the colors right into those little areas. I've also gold embossed my Christmas onto some white strips, and I have two of my Felicity snowflakes. These are really, really gorgeous. But this is a brand new die from our Diecember release that Christina Werner designed. For the happy, I've used the coordinating die that goes around those words. And next I'll be painting these with a really fun color that is on our holiday sample card. So this color is Transparent Pearl, and it'll get me just a really light milky color under that Desert Storm cardstock, but a really great pearlescent sheen. So I'm just coloring inside the lines. I'll pull this up so you can see what it looks like while it's wet, and you can see that there is a shine to it. This is going to be really gorgeous when it's all done and complete. To put everything together, I'm using my glue pen on the back of my Felicity snowflake, and I'm making sure that I have enough glue to where it's going to grab some of the paper that's in between that embossing. And I'll just press that down and hold it in place until I'm happy with it. And then for my happy, I'm going to show you that sheen. It's really, really pretty. So that's Transparent Pearl in the Daniel Smith colors. So with a little bit of foam tape, that'll set up from that snowflake just a little bit. I love dimension on my cards. And then also for my Christmas, this will set just at the bottom of that happy, just kind of overlapping it slightly. So here's the two finished cards. First the peachy one, and it's really gorgeous with all the shimmer and the gold embossing, and then also my blue colors. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on how to do a really quick background using your watercolors and mixing in some of your stamps that are not so Christmassy, but you can still have a really great Christmas message. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your day.